Hey guys, today I'm going to be taking a look at what went into play against Renegade's comeback against the T side of Astralis yesterday, or more, what went wrong for them. I'm going to be looking at most of the gun rounds. I'm not entirely sure there's a proper way to sort them, so I'm just going to sort of shift through them chronologically. I'm also not going to be looking at overtime. I didn't feel like that reflected the complete half of Astralis that well, and on overtime they were taking some more straightforward gambles and they went 1 and 2. But alas, they did end up losing the game on their CT side. Starting off with looking at the beginning of the comeback, Renegades actually elected to play for overtime, which is pretty funny in hindsight, considering Astralis ended up being the ones to have to force the overtime from being 14-15 behind. And you know, they did this even with the 2 rifles saved and just fully ecoed for that comeback potential. So Renegades just stack A here, but they're gonna have their whole team just clearing it out from different angles. Anyways, they kill JKS with the rifle, and now they think they cleared out the A stack, but the A's are still sitting here in shadow, so they're gonna end up overlooking him, which is obviously a mistake, and he's gonna kill the planter. Device isn't gonna be expecting the ramp flank, and as we know, Glaive is gonna try very heroically, but not be able to win the 1 versus 2. He's gonna get upped by ASR in a second. So Renegades ended up out of nowhere getting the upper hand on the economy, and off this Astralis reset, the comeback was initiated. So just hopping on to the next round after that loss. So Astralis makes the correct call to buy here, just wanting to suppress Renegades as swiftly as possible. So what they're gonna do in this round is try to sort of fake mid control and then go into an A take, hoping they won't have to fight more than the anchor, or at least hoping they can exclude him swiftly then. Even though their fake sword is gonna work out, we're gonna see that Jakem is gonna molly mid. And this leads to Astralis maybe believing Renegades will fight mid and the fake not work. And Glaive ends up not extending. I don't know if he wanted to extend, but he just ends up not extending. So they're gonna send out Azure to sort of just come out. Since they threw this closer short smoke instead of the deep one, they're just gonna send him to sort of check this out. And Jakem is gonna back off, obviously with the call being not to fight mid, is just gonna back off to play a bit closer to site, or for a quick rotate around window or jungle here. So what ends up happening is that Astralis can't or don't want to trust the mid shit, so they're just gonna have this jungle smoke from Glaive. And they're just gonna run. The device also smokes up con. But it's very obvious they want to catch the Renegades off guard here, because you see device has 2 flashes. It's very easy to line up a flash for a Halls pop. They're just gonna go dry, and they actually catch JKS in transition. But the problem here is that there's no util hindering Gratisfaction. There's nothing in front of him, so he can just keep peeking, and he's good for 2. And off this info, Jakem is also gonna come out here and play around the smoke. I mean, he knows it's free to play, so I guess this is just a bit of an aggro peek. He just goes off a timing, but he's gonna clean up Glaive, and he gets a second as well, and the Gratisfaction is still gonna be good on this angle, and kill device that lags a bit there. So Astralis' fake, or what he tried to do in mid, didn't really come into play at all, or that much, and in a lot of ways it was what was the cause of the round loss. Renegades decided not to fight for top mid, and they only had JK mauling besides the smoke. Now he knows that the extend, or the swing off that, is clear at that current time, since they didn't put out the molly, or that then the people would be entrapped behind there. And you know, obviously with the call not to fight, he backs off to play closer to site, or joined with Azure if they wanted to peek that. And obviously Azure was a bit of short, peeking up, and they were prepared for maybe taking that surprise peek or that info play. But when Astralis just called in the take at that time, they've already wasted 2 smokes with 2 additional smokes on the take. And they're not using any extra utility to get, because they want to have dry peaks. And the combination of the completely wrong time to commit with what the take actually was is what caused them to lose. So it's much more them losing the round than Renegades just being set up in this amazing or great way. Jumping onto the next gun round now, and this round is really going to show that the T side Astralis we're working with wasn't one with many ideas or clear and cut concepts. This doesn't necessarily mean or translate into that their T side is bad. I mean, we obviously know it's Astralis, the best team in the world playing, or that they would win one round of 11. But either them just trusting that they would take the win, or they didn't want to delve too deep into what they had prepared. Either because they were facing Renegades, or because of the 4-8 score. Anyway, they're sort of just gonna run this 1-3-1 to get a feel of the mid control, and they're sort of just gonna have Magisk checking out under here before going back B. They're gonna attempt to boost as well and get spotted out by Azir on an off angle there. So Magisk is gonna die here eventually when he starts shooting at an aggressive Gratisfaction here, who just sort of peeks and wrecks him. And now Dupree spots out Azir here and starts shooting at him, so he calls in, or had already called in, a window smoke from the device. But that actually fails, and that's gonna end up gifting Azir the kill on the escape. From here on out, they aren't really gonna recuperate and be able to win the round, and they're gonna die all alone. So Device is just going for his solo play, seeing if he can catch out anybody and not timing. And then, you know, just going alone, no trade potential, he's just going for that one kill. Same thing's gonna happen with Glaive. Jacob is gonna win this duel by just a continuation peek, and Subnix gets caught out looking the wrong way. So they die without doing any damage to Renegade's order economy, and this is very uncharacteristic of Astralis. Something they're very good at is to utilize manpower and utility, and this is something we know about them. And we recognize for doing that at the very definition, or like at the very essence. And what they do is they use what's given to you to the maximal extent. So this was in any way, shape or form imaginable not the full force Astralis that we saw. So in this round Astralis took a timeout, their first timeout, and thereafter went for a pretty simple B fake with them destroying the pillar smoke. And then two guys just contact A, and they secure the site of Glaive's entry. I think this is actually a prime example to end up with, and it just shows that, I want to say, misrepresented Astralis we saw, and core mistakes that are usually completely absent for this roster. So what I want to look at is sort of exactly everything that happens from the point Astralis starts playing the bomb, and where the mistakes start to pile up. So Glaive decides to first off to molly jungle, and he's now gonna smoke it, in order to not let like any guy in window or dare take over close jungle or stairs for a much faster retake, and obviously this is acceptable. And they also plant in the smartest position available, since nobody's covering jungle, con / short. They can't plant default because nobody's holding deep CT, and nobody's holding jungle for jungle plant. So they're planting here, but they're sort of sacrificing Subnix in this gamble, because Device is posted CT, but not on that angle. Jacob takes a gamble, and it ends up paying off for him. However, Dupree in top mid ends up trading one back, so it is a 4v3 in their advantage. So looking at the 4v3, they do not have utility, but they have pretty good positions and man advantage. They have two Tetris, and Magisk is gonna run around to come from spawn. And they have Dupree in charge of mid. So with the current plant, more people toward Tetris / ramp is good, and Device is also allowed to have sort of an instant peek with the op. But Renegades know, Glaive knows that Renegades should know that the left side of the site is clear, and with Magisk obviously coming in from spawn, he decides to take a bit more initiative, just to show some more presence. So what I'm actually guessing here is that Glaive wants to fend off the cities to save. Like, that's the main purpose of what he just did. Even if it's smart to just want more side control, I think this is just for the Renegades to say that, alright, he's already pushing up, he's aggressing, let's not commit to this. But he's gonna get shot at by Leos from short, and he decides to duck back, hoping what he did, combined with Dupree here in top mid, is enough. However, they're either blindly just trusting that Renegades won't retake and save, or just aren't paying enough attention. Device is gonna get taken out by Jacob here, a great flash. Dupree is eventually gonna get dueled in mid. Glaive is sort of just caught in no man's land here, probably should get this kill, but ends up getting out dueled by Jacob. Magisk down to clutch the 1 vs 2. He's gonna get the first, Gratisfaction on the op, but he can't win it out, and Lea secures the round with the defuse. So again, just not very clean from Astralis, and a lot of core mistakes, as I've said, which we aren't used to seeing in this roster. Obviously it was pretty good early on, like the core idea was always good, with their simple fake, Dupree lurking mid, and they knew they were taking a gamble with the plan, but they just wanted that bomb down. But just them not being aware enough in the after plant, and them not using their men, which is something that they're best at in the world, is what ended up losing them the round. And as we have seen, this was much more them losing the game and the rounds than Renegades winning that.